Your life isn't shaped by the events around you, but by the decisions you make every single day. Most people think that life happens to them. They look at their circumstances, their job, their relationships, their financial situation, and assume these are things they have no control over. But let me tell you something. Nothing in your life has more power than the decisions you make. Your decisions dictate your outcomes. They are the building blocks of your destiny. The problem is most people don't even realize they're making decisions. They operate on autopilot, going through the motions, reacting to life instead of directing it. They don't see that every moment they're at a crossroads. Every thought, every action is a decision, whether you recognize it or not. And when you don't consciously take control of those decisions, guess what happens? Life decides for you. And let me tell you, that's not a winning strategy. Think about it. Every extraordinary result you've ever achieved in your life, every time you've been proud of yourself, has come down to a choice. Maybe it was the decision to take a risk when you didn't know if it would work out. Maybe it was the decision to keep going when everything in you wanted to quit. Or maybe it was the decision to say, enough is enough. I'm done settling for less than I'm capable of. Those moments, those choices are where life shifts. Now, I'm not saying decisions are always easy. Sometimes they're hard. Sometimes they require courage. But let's be real. The hardest part isn't making the decision itself. The hardest part is realizing that you can make the decision. It's stepping into that moment with certainty and saying, I'm the one who gets to choose how this goes. Because when you take responsibility for your decisions, you take responsibility for your life. Most people are waiting for the perfect moment to decide. They're waiting for the fear to go away, for the conditions to be just right, for some external sign to tell them it's time. But let me tell you something, waiting is a decision too. And while you're waiting, someone else is taking action. While you're hesitating, someone else is creating momentum. And before you know it, the opportunity you've been waiting for has passed you by. The truth is, there's no perfect time to decide. The perfect time is now. Because when you delay, you're not just losing time, you're losing confidence. Every time you put off a decision, you reinforce the belief that you're not in control. But every time you decide, even if it's messy, even if it's imperfect, you're building strength. You're proving to yourself that you can shape your life instead of just reacting to it. So, ask yourself right now, what decisions have you been putting off? What area of your life has been stuck because you've been too afraid to choose? Whatever it is, stop waiting, decide, because the quality of your life will always come down to the quality of your decisions. What you focus on is what you feel, and what you feel shapes your entire experience of life. Let me ask you something. Have you ever noticed how two people can go through the exact same event and walk away with completely different emotions, completely different perspectives, completely different lives as a result? It's not because the event was different for each of them, it's because they chose to focus on something different. Focus is the gateway to meaning. It determines what you see, how you interpret it, and ultimately, how you live your life. The truth is, there's always something to focus on, always something demanding your attention. There's the noise, the chaos, the stress, and yes, there are also the opportunities, the solutions, and the beauty. It's all there all the time, but where you put your focus is a decision. Most people don't understand that. They think their focus is automatic. They think it's dictated by their circumstance, but that's not true. You get to choose what you look at. You get to decide what you magnify. The question is, are you focusing on what you have or what you're missing? Are you focusing on what's in your control or everything that's outside of it? Are you focusing on the problem or are you searching for the solution? This isn't just positive thinking. This is the foundation of how you experience life, because what you focus on grows. If you focus on the negatives, on all the reasons why something won't work, you'll find yourself stuck. You'll feel defeated before you even begin. But if you focus on what's possible, on the opportunities, on the path forward, even when it's tough, you'll find a way. Now, let me be clear. This doesn't mean ignoring the challenges. It doesn't mean pretending the obstacles aren't there. It means training your mind to focus on what will move you forward, not what will hold you back. Think about this for a moment. How often do you spend your time and energy focusing on things you can't control? The weather, the economy, someone else's opinion of you? That's wasted energy. You can't control those things, but you can control how you respond to them. You can control how you show up, what you do, and most importantly, what you focus on. Your focus is a muscle. If you don't train it, it will be pulled in every direction. It'll be hijacked by the negativity, the distractions, the fear. But when you take control, when you choose consciously to focus on what matters most, you become unstoppable. You start to see opportunities where others see dead ends. You find strength where others see struggle. You create momentum where others feel stuck. The key is to make focus a habit. Every day ask yourself, where is my focus right now? Is it on something that empowers me or something that drains me? Is it on the solution or the problem? The moment you shift your focus, your entire state changes. And when your state changes, your life changes. The decisions we make don't just stop at what we focus on. There's something deeper that determines how those decisions impact us. It's the meaning we assign to what happens in our lives. Nothing in life has meaning except the meaning we give it. Think about that for a second. The events in your life aren't inherently good or bad, empowering or disempowering. They're just events. It's the meaning you attach to them that gives them power. Here's the challenge. Most people don't realize they're assigning meaning. They think the meaning is automatic. They think this is just how things are without understanding that they've made a choice, even if it's unconscious. If someone rejects you, you might decide it means you're not good enough. If you fail at something, you might decide it means you're incapable. But those are just meanings you've created. Someone else could experience the exact same situation and decide it means something entirely different. That rejection means they're one step closer to the right opportunity, or that failure means they're learning and growing. The meaning you choose is everything. It determines how you feel, how you act, and ultimately what you create in your life. The good news is that you have the power to change the meaning of any event. You can take control of the story you tell yourself. But to do that, you have to be willing to challenge your default reactions. You have to ask yourself, is this the only meaning I can give this situation? Is there a more empowering meaning I can choose instead? Let me give you an example. Imagine two people lose their job on the same day. One person decides it means their life is over, that they'll never recover, that they've failed. That meaning creates fear, hopelessness, and inaction. The other person decides it means they've been given an opportunity to start fresh, to pursue something they've always wanted to do. That meaning creates excitement, drive, and momentum. Same event, two completely different outcomes, all because of the meaning they chose. This isn't just about the big moments in life, it's about the little ones too. How many times have you let a small frustration like traffic or someone cutting you off ruin your mood? You assign meaning to it, maybe something like, people are so inconsiderate, or the world is against me, and that meaning colors your entire day. But what if you stopped and assigned a new meaning? What if you decided it was an opportunity to practice patience or a reminder to slow down and breathe? The meaning you give to your experiences creates the lens through which you see the world. And the lens you choose will either empower you or disempower you. The beauty of it is that you always have a choice. Even in the toughest moments, you can choose a meaning that serves you instead of one that holds you back. So I'll ask you this. What's a situation in your life right now where the meaning you've given it is holding you back? And what's a new meaning you could give it that would set you free? Decide, because the story you tell yourself is the story you'll live. Decisions are meaningless without action. You can focus on what matters. You can choose an empowering meaning, but none of it matters if you don't take the next step. What are you going to do about it? This is where most people get stuck. They sit in indecision, paralyzed by fear, overwhelmed by uncertainty, waiting for everything to feel perfect before they act. But life doesn't wait. Opportunity doesn't wait. Growth doesn't wait. If you don't act, nothing changes. The truth is, action is what turns an idea into reality. It's what bridges the gap between where you are and where you want to be. But taking action isn't always easy. Sometimes it's scary. Sometimes it's uncomfortable. Sometimes it's messy. And that's why so many people avoid it. They wait for certainty, for all the answers, for guarantees. But let me tell you something. Certainty doesn't come before action. It comes from action. You see, the moment you start moving, you create momentum, and momentum is powerful. It's the difference between standing still, stuck in your own thoughts, and moving forward, even if it's just one step at a time. Action creates clarity. When you take a step, you get feedback, you learn what works and what doesn't. You start to see the path more clearly. But you'll never see that path if you don't take the first step. Think about the moments in your life when you've been at a crossroads, unsure of what to do. Maybe you were scared to make the wrong decision, so you stayed in limbo, doing nothing. How did that feel? Probably frustrating, maybe even painful. Now think about the times when you just went for it. You didn't have all the answers, but you acted anyway. Even if it didn't work out perfectly, didn't you feel stronger, more confident? That's the power of action. The mistake so many people make is believing they need to know the entire plan before they start, but life doesn't work that way. You don't need the whole map, you just need to take the next step, then the next and the next. Each step reveals more of the path, each step builds more confidence, and each step brings you closer to where you want to be. But let's be real, not every action is going to lead to instant success. You're going to stumble, you're going to face setbacks, and that's okay. Action isn't about perfection, it's about progress. It's about having the courage to move forward, even when it's hard, even when it's scary, because every time you take action, you're telling yourself, I'm in control, I'm the one driving this, and that builds strength. So let me ask you, what's the one thing you've been avoiding? What's the action you know you need to take but haven't? Maybe it's having a tough conversation. Maybe it's making a bold move in your career. Maybe it's taking care of your health. Whatever it is, stop waiting, stop overthinking, stop making excuses. Just decide and act. Because at the end of the day, it's not what you plan to do, it's what you actually do that shapes your life. Every decision you make is a reflection of what you truly value. Whether you realize it or not, the choices you make every day are guided by what you believe is most important, your purpose, your values, your vision of the life you want to create. The problem is most people haven't taken the time to truly define what that is for them. They're making decisions in the moment, reacting to circumstances, and letting short-term emotions or external pressures guide their actions. And when you do that, it's easy to find yourself drifting, feeling stuck, or even living a life that doesn't feel like your own. When you align your decisions with your purpose, everything changes. Suddenly, you're no longer just moving through life, you're moving towards something. Every choice becomes intentional, every step meaningful. It gives you clarity, focus, and a sense of direction that most people are searching for but never find. And here's the truth. Your purpose doesn't have to be some grand world-changing mission. It's simply the set of values, goals, and beliefs that matter most to you. It's about deciding what kind of person you want to be and what kind of life you want to create, and then making every decision through that lens. But it takes work. It takes reflection. It takes the courage to ask yourself the hard questions. What truly matters to me? What am I willing to fight for? What kind of legacy do I want to leave behind? Too often we get so caught up in the noise of life that we forget to pause and ask these questions. We let society or family or even our past dictate our decisions instead of taking the time to figure out what's true for us. Once you define your purpose, your decisions become easier. Not always easy, but easier. You stop wasting energy on things that don't align with your values. You stop saying yes to things that pull you away from what's important. And you start focusing your time, your energy, and your heart on the things that truly matter. That's how you create a life that feels fulfilling, meaningful, and aligned with who you are. Think about it. How many times have you said yes to something because you didn't want to disappoint someone, even though it wasn't right for you? How often have you made decisions out of fear? Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of the unknown, instead of making them based on what's true for you? It's time to stop living by default and start living by design. When you make decisions that align with your purpose, you feel it. You feel the difference. There's a sense of peace even in the difficult moments because you know you're living in integrity with who you are. You're not just reacting to life, you're creating it. And the beauty of living this way is that it inspires others. When you're clear on your purpose, when you're making decisions with intention, people notice. They feel it. And you give them permission to do the same in their own lives. So here's my question for you. Are your decisions today taking you closer to the life you want to create, or are they pulling you away from it? Decide now, because alignment with your purpose isn't just a nice idea, it's the foundation of a life worth living. Taking control of your decisions starts with awareness. Most people go through life without realizing how much power they truly have. They let habits, emotions, and external circumstances dictate their actions. But if you want to change your life, if you want to create the life you deserve, you have to become intentional about the decisions you make every single day. It's not enough to know what to focus on, assign empowering meanings, or align with your purpose. You have to practice turning that knowledge into action, moment by moment, until it becomes second nature. The first step is simple, but it's not always easy. Pause. When you're faced with a decision, big or small, take a moment to breathe and ask yourself, is this choice moving me closer to the life I want, or further away from it? That pause can change everything because it interrupts the autopilot. It creates space for you to respond intentionally instead of reacting impulsively. Once you've paused, the next step is to get clear on what you want. Clarity is power. Most people don't get what they want because they're not clear about what that is. They're focused on avoiding pain or staying comfortable instead of moving towards something meaningful. But when you know exactly what you're after, your decisions become obvious. They're no longer weighed down by doubt or hesitation because you have a guiding star. But clarity alone isn't enough. You have to cultivate a mindset that drives you to act. That starts with shifting from a passive to a proactive state. Instead of waiting for opportunities, create them. Instead of hoping things will get better, make them better. This doesn't mean you'll always have control over what happens to you, but you'll always have control over how you respond. And how you respond will determine the direction your life takes. One of the most powerful tools you can use is reflection. At the end of every day, ask yourself, did I make decisions today that I'm proud of? Did I show up the way I wanted to? What can I learn from the choices I made? This simple practice will sharpen your awareness and help you refine your decision-making over time. It turns mistakes into lessons, challenges into growth, and good days into great ones. You also need to surround yourself with the right influences. The people you spend the most time with, the information you consume, the environment you put yourself in, all of it impacts your decisions. If you're constantly surrounded by negativity, it's going to affect your focus, your meaning, and your actions. But if you intentionally create an environment that supports your growth, that challenges you to be your best, your decisions will naturally align with the life you want to create. This process of taking control is not a one-time thing. It's not about making one big decision and being done. It's about showing up every day with intention. It's about building momentum with small, consistent choices that move you forward. And it's about recognizing that every decision, no matter how small, is an opportunity to create the life you want. So here's the question I'll leave you with. If every decision you make is shaping your destiny, what will you choose to do today? Decide now, because your future is created in this moment.